Hi, Josh. I'm just wondering what it's been like to work with Jared. We see him work with Julian and all the other receivers, and how has he kind of accepted his role right now?
You're talking about Jarrett Stidham?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, Stid's done a great job since he got here. He's a great kid and loves the game of football, works really hard, has put a lot of time and effort into his craft, and is really an unselfish guy. So, he competed his butt off this whole year, trying to learn and improve as a football player. Really continues to work really hard and prepare just as he would if he was starting, which is what he did last year as a rookie. And, he's an unselfish guy. He'll do anything to help the team, practices well, practices hard, prepares every week to be ready to go. And, I have a lot of confidence in Jarrett, and I see a lot of growth in him each week that he's here.
Next question, Mike Reese, followed by Evan Lazar.
Good morning, Josh. What have you observed from Cam Newton that reflects his motivation to maximize, this season here in New England?
Good morning, Mike. Cam's been very consistent since I first met Cam. He loves the game of football, and he also loves working really hard. And I have a great respect for how much time and effort he puts in to prepare himself each day for what lies ahead. He's here early, he's here late. He doesn't cut any corner. He, is a tremendous leader. And he does a lot each day to make sure that he's at his best the next day. And so, to me, his motivation is performing well and getting his group to perform well along with him. Any other motivations you'd have to ask him about, but honestly, I mean, he comes into work and he pushes his teammates. He continues to keep our group loose, and we have a lot of fun, but we work really hard. And I just know he's an unselfish guy that wants to do whatever we ask him to do to help our team win. And I don't think there's anything else we could ask of him.
Next question, Evan Lazar, followed by Phil Perry.
Hey, Josh, in the first 3 games, we've obviously seen you guys use 3 very different ways to move the football, and offensively at least. And I was just wondering, was that the kind of the game plan going in, or more in-game adjustments? And what's it say about the players that they're able to, learn different game plans and then also adjust on the fly like that to, whatever you guys need to do to move the football that day?
Well, they prepare really hard. And our philosophy has always been the same, which is, to try to take, our guys that we have on our side of the ball and the strengths that they possess together and try to maximize those each week against the opponent that we're playing. It's a pretty simple philosophy, but it also incurs some, learning each week of possibly some new things that we want to try to do that may give us the best advantage to have success. And again, it goes back to their work ethic, the way they study, how intentional they are with their the time that we have in the meeting room with them, the walkthroughs we put in. They use every minute of the day, and they deserve a tremendous amount of credit for being able to execute, different styles of offense. From 1 week to the next. I mean, it's not like we reinvent the wheel every week. There's a few things that are maybe a little new for each team, and we try to do the best we can to execute those things when they're called. But whether it's an adjustment we make in the middle of the game or some portion of the game plan that's a little different than before, they got a great attitude, a great mindset about it. They work really hard. They understand why we're doing it. And they do everything they can to execute it the way that we asked them to.
We go Phil Perry, followed by Karen Guregian.
Hey, Josh, how's it going?
Good, Phil. How are you doing?
Good, thanks. This is sort of building off of Evan's question, but I'm wondering how you would define balance offensively, and if it's a week-to-week thing, if you can show it over multiple weeks, and if that's important to you. Is it important to have balance even? I just sort of curious how you would define that word.
Yeah. I think it's important to try to be good at all the things that you want to do on offense, which obviously is, starts with running the football, protecting the passer, and throwing the football. So I think it's important to be good at those things and to work hard. And we've worked hard in training camp in the first few weeks of the season here to try to be good at multiple different facets of our offense. I've never been too attached to the idea that every series or every game or every quarter has to be 50-50 right down the middle. Because I think once we get to the game, the most important thing is that we're doing the right things that give ourselves the best chance to win. So, that might mean, as we've talked about in the past, running it more, throwing it more, based on the look the defense has given us, because they get a say too. They can put 8, 9, 7, 6, however many guys they want to put down near the line of scrimmage. They have the choice to do that, and they certainly they will, and they can, and they've tried a lot of different things. We've seen a lot of different looks this year, and they can play. They can pressure us. They can play split safety zone. They can play man coverage, and a lot of those things, will kind of determine the way we want to try to continue to play in that game. Some of which you don't know until Sunday, and I would say, this week is a team that, they do a lot of different things, and they do a lot of things well. And so it's going to be an interesting week of preparation. Got to prepare for a lot this week, and our balance again will probably be dictated by how the game flows and what happens when we get to the middle of the first quarter or the beginning of the second quarter. We'll kind of have a better idea of what the game is kind of unfolding like.
Thanks, Josh.
Mm-hmm.
Next question, Karen Guregian, followed by Dan Roach.
Morning, Josh. How are you?
Good, Karen. How are you doing?
Good, thanks. I was wondering about Cam and his ability to take coaching and how you found that and how you find working with him in that regard, correcting mistakes and so on.
Very, very enjoyable for a coach. He listens. He's a really good listener. He communicates well. If he has a question, you always hear the question. He doesn't hold anything in. And honestly, those are the things you if you could ask anything of a player, it's that they would communicate when they don't understand something clearly, or if you want to try to correct something, that they listen to you intently and try to make those adjustments and changes. And I've been super impressed with his humility. This guy has, he's accomplished a lot in his career, and being 10 years in the league and doing all the things he's done, and coming here and having no familiarity with our coaching style or our system or the way we do things. I have been incredibly impressed with the way he's embraced it. Looks forward to it, and really, really wants to be coached, wants to be great, wants to improve. And, is a great example for a lot of our younger players. I feel very comfortable coaching him, whether it's practice, meetings, games, walkthroughs, because he's such a good listener and he takes nothing personal, which really there's no part of coaching that is personal. It's just about trying to correct and improve. And he's really done a nice job.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Next question, Dan Roach, followed by Bob Sosi.
Morning, Josh.
Good morning.
Not sure if this is coming from a different perspective question of, you've been at this a long time. We started a couple of weeks ago with the dangerousness of Russ Wilson and what he does. What does it affect you at all, the other side, when you're going up against a quarterback like that, like a Mahomes that you'll face this week, as far as what you're trying to do offensively?
Not really. That's a very common, line, so and so's playing so and so. In reality, they'll never be on the field together. And it's the same thing with us. We have to prepare for the defense, and we have to prepare to do the right things to be able to protect the football, possess it, move the football, and score points. And so, as much as there's certainly a challenge for our kicking units and our defense, to compete against their kicking units and their offense. Our focus is solely on the defensive side of the ball, and it takes some discipline. It takes focus, to keep your mind where it needs to be, and that's on how to attack the defense and how to move the football. We got a great challenge ahead of us. This is a team that's really disruptive on defense, creates a lot of negative plays, can put you in positions, to turn the football over. Jones, Clark, Matthew. I mean, these guys, Hitchens. These guys are about as disruptive as you get. In terms of they're in a lot of different spots. They get in the backfield. They create penetration. They rush the passer. They blitz from everywhere. They tackle well. They run to the ball. They change their coverage looks. They're a really good disguise team, probably the best we've played. And I know they're well coached. I mean, coached with Coach Spagnuolo, I've coached with Brendan Daly. I mean, these guys are some of the best in the league. And so we don't have any time to worry about, the other side of the ball. And our defensive staff and coaches and players will be worrying about that stuff. And our focus will stay on how to attack the defense and score points.
Just a quick follow-up. Shifting gears, how proud were you of the offensive unit from, what happened with James? Obviously, was tough for everyone in that running back room, but also to watch Joe Tooney step in and go over to center, and then Owenu step in at guard. How proud were you of the entire unit for what you were able to do on Sunday?
I'm always proud of these guys. We have a great group of human beings, and they work extremely hard to be prepared and ready to go every week. And we couldn't ask more of them. And they handle adversity with class and grace. And nobody epitomizes that more than James White, in terms of what he's had to handle and go through. And, he's always been a tremendous example for us. And I think our guys, the guys that were asked to fill different roles on Sunday stepped up, prepared really hard, and tried to execute the best that they could. And I think our guys really did a good job of, just trying to be ready to go and handle the challenge that was presented to them. And, we've had some tough things, and that's life. Everybody goes through them, and I think our guys deserve a lot of credit for continuing to prepare hard while they're also being human and helping their teammates, helping their coaches that have gone through some adversity here recently. I thought they went out and performed very admirably.
And I'll apologize to those we don't get to, but I'm going to try to squeeze in two final questions. Bob Sosi and Tara Sullivan.
All right. Thanks, Stacy. Good morning, Josh.
Good morning, Bob.
This is related to Dan's question about the offensive line specifically. You've had changing personnel. You've run it effectively in different ways, and you've done it with two new coaches on the offensive line, or at least two guys who now have the responsibility in Dante, Cole, and Carmen. I'm curious, through 3 games, what's it been like to work with them, whether it's the preparation for each game, your impressions thus far, the way you guys are working together and the job they're doing?
Our staff works really hard, and Carmen, Cole put in a lot of time and effort in the off season. They've studied at the foot of the best, best offensive coach I've been around, and Dante taught them very well. But they've also put a lot of time and effort in themselves, and there's some new things we're doing. There's some changes we've made, and they continue to work with our players, young and old, to try to make progress. Fundamentals are such an important part of playing offensive line. Communication is a critical element of that as well. And they've really done a nice job of trying to stress that. We've had some guys play different spots, which is never easy. But they've been up to the challenge, and I appreciate the way they work, appreciate the way they communicate with the players, appreciate how hard they work each week to prepare them, make sure that unit's ready to go. And they've done a nice job, and we're going to continue to try to work hard to prepare our group as we move forward.
Thanks.
And last question, Tara Sullivan.
Thank you, Stacy. Josh, we love kind of talking about your play calling and the prowess and the different things, the different game planning. Through 3 weeks with Cam as your quarterback now, what are you learning about it? What you can do with him, how it affects, how his skill set plays into what you can do as a play caller?
It's it's different. There's certainly a huge chunk of what we've been able to try to do in the past that we continue to try to do, and then you take certain strengths of each player, and in this particular case, we're talking about the quarterback. You take the strengths of the players that you have, and you try to put them in the positions to be successful that they have the most confidence in. And so, whether it's some version of an adjustment in the running game, some ability to use his legs or his size and strength, we've tried to do some of all of that. And at the same time, the most important thing for us and for Cam is to run the offense, and really enjoyed the process with him because he prepares so hard. And so, we run a lot of plays that have nothing to do with deception or tricking the defense or anything like that. It's just fundamentals and execution. And Cam's adamant about wanting to do his job really well in those areas, just as he is if I asked him to run the ball or throw it deep or do something else. And so you just try to, you try to maximize their strengths each week. And at the same time, I would say we're not done learning. It takes a while for you to learn everything that you could possibly do with a player at a certain position. Not to mention the fact that we try to improve a lot of areas as we go through each week of practice. So I think the development, even though he's played in the league a long time, I think the development of this year for him as a player and our team as an offense is far from over. And so really enjoying the process. I'll look forward to every day I get to coach him. And, he's obviously he reciprocates that with his effort and the time he spends trying to prepare himself for the game.
Thank you, Josh.
Hey,
Thank you,
Josh.
everyone.
Hey, Josh, this is Ben Bull, and I apologize. I know you've gone for a while. Can you just answer one more quick question?
Ben, we've gone overtime here, and I've got Jed to go before he goes to meetings at 9:30. So sorry.
Yeah. All right.
Thanks, guys.
All right, guys. Have a great day.